Hey guys, it's Matt. This is going to be a true variety show. Other than a few things that I definitely wanted to tell you about, especially my visit or trip to the DMV, that's the Department of Motor Vehicles in the state of Pennsylvania. Let me tell you what happened there. It was just as I expected it to happen. So, Matt, were you responsible in somehow creating that fucked up situation? Yeah, probably. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. And if there's any chance that I could completely lose my mind in a video, this one has a higher chance than most. Now, an update on the Truth Buddies for the Christmas season. Foxconn only manufactured 6 before they realized who I was, stopped the manufacturing, refunded my money, and shipped me the 6 half-broken Truth Buddies. Nothing happens when you squeeze the stomach. They won't work with me in China because they know who I am and they know about this channel. Let's start quickly with this. Many truth researchers will mistakenly call this a win, but they're going to do what they want to do. The notnilC controls all of this, and sometimes they just have to make it look legitimate, like the positioning of this Robert Kennedy Jr. and the positioning of him in this anti-action Jacksonation campaign. It's literally just sometimes they have to just make it look good, guys. It's not a big win. CDC advisors vote in support of major change to childhood action Jacksonation. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Advisory Committee on Immunization Practice, appointed by the HHS Robert Kennedy Jr., give me a break, has voted to abandon universal hepatitis B vaccination for newborns. Let me repeat that. Has voted to abandon, they're no longer going forward with universal hepatitis B vaccinations for newborns. A win is not the right word, folks. Ultimately, in this regard, they're going to do what they want. You think Robert Kennedy Jr. is working for you and your family? Sometimes they just have to make it look good. See, look what they did. Oh, they realized this would be a mistake. This could harm children. That means to the subconscious and all the dummies that read these headlines that all the other ones must be safe because, see, they stop it in its tracks when it's not safe. They'll probably eventually put this through, but they just have to see it's all a script, and they have to, even for the dumbest of the dumb, they have to make it look good. If any truther out there say, "Oh, this is a win, this is a win," you have no idea how this reality works. If you're parading around your front yard that this is a win. I'm no expert on this, so I went off for a few minutes to look into how does one get hepatitis B? How many people get hepatitis B? Why would this be even an issue to give an action vaccination to newborns? 22,000 cases, I think it said, in the United States per year. I mean, that's next to nothing. It's a rounding error of a rounding error. And then how does one get it? What if you drink somebody else's soda at the mall or something? Only through bodily fluid exchange, unprotected sex, the sharing of needles? So let me get this straight. You're thinking about action vaccinating every single newborn went basically to protect the train spotting crowd. Unprotected sex, body fluids, blood that already is tainted with, or sharing of needles. There's almost no way to get it just with casual interaction. If somebody coughs on you in the bus or whatever, this is truly sick, and this is how the notnilC does business. They'll float it out. Getting it in the minds of a few million people that this is on the table for something that in the future they might issue to newborns. Not ready to do it yet, and then they pull back, and then they'll eventually push forward a little, and then it'll be shot down again, and maybe 8 to 10 years, then they'll eventually implement it along with the other. I have no idea how many action vaccinations newborns get, but in the first 2 years of life, it's something we would have found, I'm sure, completely impossible or unfathomable if explained to us in the 70s. They don't just, but this is one where they take a baby step and they pull back, but they'll eventually put it through. Of course they will. Okay, guys, the DMV story, or Department of Motor Vehicles. I'm not going to read this to you. This screen will go away in a few seconds. It's just proof that what I say happened to me actually is on record as happening. Not that I don't have a degree of trust with most of you, but it is absolutely unbelievable. So my license, Pennsylvania driver's license, doesn't expire for 10, 11, 12 months. It's getting somewhat close, but I didn't have to be there. I wanted to go through the process first. Dad needs to fly In the United States, you need real ID. It's a regular driver's license with a little star on it. Maybe we'll talk about that later. A little star on it. You don't get a barcode tattooed onto your arm, but you can also fly in the United States with a valid passport. All right. I need to go through the process first to see how rigorous it is, what sort of questions they ask. Let's just say Dad needs a little bit of assistance. So I have to do this for him and go through the process first. And I'm like, look, I need a new license anyway in the next 10 months. Let me just get it done. All right. I get in there. Long story short, my driver's center looks just like what you're seeing here. There's some delinquent out front like Jay and Silent Bob leaning against the glass, and it's always crowd. It is not a friendly place. Okay, we know. It is the heart of notnilC. It's the heart of darkness. And I was relieved. It wasn't that packed. And this is just Thursday after I made the video about World War II and Japan. I head right over. And things are moving quickly. Get through. You have all the proper paperwork. Real quick, guys, 20 seconds or less for real ID. You need a Social Security card, or they're very big on, you can't just bring in any old document that shows your Social Security number. You have to look and see exactly what they want, or they will kick you out. Okay, so just 20 seconds on that. Anyway, so it's not that crowded, and real ID. Fill out this paperwork, and it's just it's a lot of nonsensical. You don't know exactly how to answer the questions. I'm gonna put sign here, and I'm I-034. I still remember the number. I saved the ticket. And it's like calling I-031, I-03, and I'm like, oh, they're just 3 away. But then they go F21, and then there's A's, but it's moving very, very quickly. I'm I-034. Okay, now I'm like rushing the paperwork because they're going to call me even before the paperwork is done. I said, this is incredible. I've never moved through this center like this. This is wonderful. This is just the best thing that ever happened to me. And then all of a sudden, if I-032, I'm only 2 away, and I'm like rushing through the paperwork. Everything kind of stops. Wait a second. And then they were calling numbers like rapid pace. But sometimes you're at line F and C. Go to register 4, or go to cashier 6. Anyway, okay, it all kind of stops, and the employees start talking amongst themselves, and I start over listening. Oh no, I'm 2 away, and more of this, and they're still calling a few numbers, but only once every 5-10 minutes, where before it was like once every 30 seconds, and eventually, at 20 minutes of rumbling, something's not right here. Oh, no. The guy comes forth. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. I said, you've got to be kidding me. I'm 2 away from being called. We have an outage, a computer outage. You know where this is going. You've got to be kidding me. And, of course, I created this. I dreaded going in there so much. I felt like apologizing to people. I'm the real spiritual being that created this. 2 away. So we're working to get it fit, and so he just gives some cryptic information. Well, and he almost seemed like he was ready to ask questions. Everybody's quiet, so of course I asked the question. Said, well, of course they don't provide you with any information. Should I wait for 10 more minutes, or should we all go home? Sir, based on your experience and how long you've been working here, I didn't stand up to say this, but I'm now saying this, and everybody can hear me. When was the last time you had an outage, and how long did it last? In other words, do you think it might come back in 30 minutes, or do you suggest we all go home? What's your experience in this? And I said in a little bit of a condescending way, of course. But he answered very clearly. He said, I've been here 3 years, and this has only happened one time in the 3 years that I've been. That was not like some weird 33 drop. This is what he said. Okay, this only happened one time in 3 years, and when it did go down, it was down all day. And I'm 2 away from being called. And of course, part of me is going, I caused this. I was so stressed, so unnerved, having to go into the heart of darkness, the Pennsylvania DMV. I felt like apologizing to everybody. Everybody here, I'm sorry. I caused this. I was stressed out. I caused this. And then I said, is it just this center, or is it all of Pennsylvania? He said, it's all of Pennsylvania. He said, but we do seem to have 2 terminals that still are working for some reason. So everybody has to funnel through these 2 terminals. And of course, there's terminals all the way down. I don't know, 16, 18, 20, all the way down. Now all the A's, or all the different reasons, all have to go through these 2 terminals. So even though I'm 2 away, I'm now about 2 hours away from, well, not quite. It was about an hour and a half. I said, I'm 2 away. I'm here now. I'm going to sit through this. Let's to wrap this up, guys. I'm not going to re-record. I hope this was somewhat interesting. It was going so fast, I thought they'd call me before my paperwork was up. 2 away, I 032, I'm 034. The whole fucking system went down through all of Pennsylvania, and the guy's never seen this happen before, once in 3 years. And I was like, I'm not surprised. I knew in my heart of hearts that this would be a painful experience. Matt, so isn't that a little arrogant? So you caused this, and you think you so powerful. You delusions of grandeur, sons of bitches, conspiracy. You think, oh, you caused it, but everybody else had to suffer. I don't know how it works, guys. All I'm telling you is I knew this would not be in and out, and it wasn't. And I don't know how to explain it. But am I surprised? No, absolutely not. Oh, coming back here for 30 seconds, I'm not sure I wrapped it up. Eventually, yeah, what I said was like an hour and a half or something. They did call me. Went up to one of those two terminals, and I kept asking that, is this actually going to work and go through? And it does seem to be working. We get confirmation codes, and he assured me that it worked. So eventually, I did get out of there and do what I needed to do. One more note, 20 seconds or less. If anybody needs to get Real ID to fly, if you don't have an active passport, download from your state exactly what they need. They are completely inflexible. If you don't bring exactly what they need, they will kick you out. I went with Dad the week before, and they kicked us out. They are not at all flexible. You have to see what they need and bring exactly what they asked for. That's my advice. Now, this movie called Air America with Mel Gibson and Robert Downey Jr. is over 30 years old. I've seen it. I don't remember that much of it. The CIA in some ways facilitating the smuggling of drugs or heroin to fund, of course, some foreign war. I mean, we see these themes over and over. And the point of me mentioning it is I just recently saw the Tom Cruise movie, American Made, where we have yet another, and I was going to say subtle, but it's not subtle, another major league truth drop that just with the CIA's permission, and which is supposed to be the American government's approval and permission, more drug running. There's Shoot the Messenger about, the San Jose Mercury News journalist, where that whole movie is about how the United States government facilitated, I don't know what I can say, but let's just say when they say war on drugs, it means, what do you mean war on drugs? There's so many truth drops that they facilitated bringing it in. Well, I hadn't seen Tom Cruise in American Made, and the CIA recruits Tom Cruise, and the person down the street, or your Aunt Ginny or your cousins trying to justify it, would say, well, Matt, if you paid close attention to the movie, the CIA hired Tom Cruise to take pictures like U-2 spy planes of the Contras or the Sandinistas in Honduras or El Salvador or whatever that, and then he got involved with running drugs, got involved with some of the major drug cartels. It never said specifically that the U.S. government condoned that. Oh, sure. Yeah. It's true. It is true. In the movie, to make money for himself, and of course, there's many scenes where the CIA, this is the way the movie presents it. We would go much further, of course. The movie shows the CIA agents know exactly the cargo or the payload of drugs that he's bringing in to make himself money. Well, Matt, they just had to look the other way because they needed to squash what was happening with the Sandinistas, and they knew Tom Cruise was running drugs, but they didn't want that to happen, Matt. They just had to look the other. Oh, sure. Yeah. So what do we have, like 50 major little truth drops and references across all of media about how, at the minimum, they know exactly what's going on regarding drug running, and of course, what most of us would say here, what can be said here, they facilitated it. Of course, everything is the rule of opposites. War on drugs. What did you say, sir? War on drugs. You created it. Go watch Boys in the Hood, one of my favorite scenes of all time. I had to take a minute and go get the picture for the famous gentrification scene. The old guard here knows if I could talk about the Boys in the Hood gentrification scene in every single one of my videos, I would. And for years I called him Serious. His name's Furious, the cool Lawrence Fishburne, before the chubby and uncool Lawrence Fishburne appeared in Event Horizon. He says, they want us to kill ourselves. That's my favorite thing of all time. But this is I'm not just doing this because I want to do the scene. This is completely related to what we're talking about. Because he says they're bringing the drugs in the gentrification scene. The liquor store in every corner, there's a gun store in every corner. There's actually no longer a gun store in every corner in California because it became a liberal hellhole. They want us to kill ourselves. And he says, in terms of the drugs all over the neighborhoods, and he's in Watson, Compton with Trey and Ricky. He says, we ain't got no planes. How do we get these drugs in here? Our community. We ain't got no planes. We ain't got no ships. It implies, and more than implies, that the same mother effers that want to do the gentrification of our neighborhoods are bringing in the drugs. Well, of course they are. Confirmed in Air America, confirmed in all these, Kill the Messenger, all these different movie and media references. Guys, 1 minute or less, let me tell you the trash story that just happened. It just as I was recording the end of that Boys in the Hood segment, trash trucks came. They don't come on Saturday, they come on Friday, but we were missed. Now, the old guard knows I get real paranoid when my trash isn't picked up. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I don't stay up all night, but it bothers the heck out of me when we get missed. Well, okay, right at the end of the Boys in the Hood, here's the trash truck. I look outside, and it's an arm. We have an arm like this. The arm picks the trash up. The yellow is for the recycle. The brown is the regular. It's exactly what my two cans look like. The trash truck for the regular trash. Then the guy gets out and he's like fiddling with my trash can. And this isn't going to be the greatest story, but I have to tell you. Like, what's he doing? Like, okay, he's not out there that long, but then I'm still watching. My neighbor has the same service. We can choose whatever service here. We don't have it for the whole community. We pick vendors, whatever. So he just goes 20 more feet, and I'm watching this. Same thing. And then the arm picks the trash up, and he gets out, and he's like fiddling with my neighbor's trash can. Like, oh, they're putting the damn Christmas cards. They're putting their cheap ass Christmas cards, shoving it in the lid. So you go out to get your trash bins, you get their damn horrible Christmas card. And then when it hit me, they missed us yesterday. They missed us because they're so delayed by putting in the Christmas cards. I said, you sons of bitches. You missed my trash pickup because of the fucking Christmas cards? Because he has to get out every time, and they're late. I would say, I wanted to yell, but he is way down the road. Fuck the Christmas cards. Just pick the trash up. Nobody chooses you as a vendor because you're goddamn Christmas card. You fucking missed us yesterday because you're putting cards in the fucking bin? Holy shit. This bugs the... I'm sorry, I'm not re-recording. Sorry, one other thing to mention here. The first grade truther believes that the recycle just goes into the regular trash because there's been one or two videos on the internet that shows at some point the regular trash truck put the recycle in with the regular trash. Now, I don't think recycle is all what they say. There's some issues there. How do they sort through everything? People put little tiny pieces of paper. It's not all that they say, of course. But cans, are they recycled? Major cardboard boxes? Yes. First grade truthers saw a few videos on the internet of a regular trash truck just pouring the recycle into the regular trash. Just from a few videos, oh, there's no such thing as recycle. First grade truthers, they make us look bad. Matt, you and what you say in front of your family make yourself look bad. I hear you. That doesn't go over too well either. But the first grade truthers really make us look bad. Oh, there's no such, because I saw a video on the internet. They just threw the recycling with the regular trash. It's not all that they say. It's not all or none. Don't put words in my mouth. But it's not that either, first grade truthers. I told you at the outset, folks, this will be a very strange variety show. And just a few minutes ago, it popped into my head, and we're going to go with it. I thought, what is Obama up to? Now, I don't really care, but I'm concerned because he's too quiet, in my opinion. He's too quiet. If he was all over the news and he's a superstar and he's so brilliant and he popped up on this show and he popped up as a cameo on Everybody Loves Raymond and then he popped up in your backyard at a town hall, that would make more sense. It's almost like too quiet. with Obama, like he's reconfiguring or restarting Hydra from the James Bond evil villains, or the Legion of Doom was a card. Something not quite right about it, but maybe he is doing more, and maybe it's just not covered. You'd think he as the superstar that he was, it would be more prominent when he pops up, but it didn't take long for me to find this. Barack Obama talks American democracy, patriotism, and more. THV 11 Plus, the Crystal Bridges Museum Building Bridges lecture series. At the bottom, you can see he just did this little lecture thing 3 days ago. And in the audience, I think, Obama, Obama. And somebody stood up. Because of Obama, I was the first one to go to college in my family. Obama, because of Obama, I decided to go out for basketball. I think they just take turns in the audience, but I didn't spend too much time watching this video. But wouldn't it be funny, guys, if you and me and Greg and some of our folks were in the front row and we could ask questions? It wouldn't be that embarrassing for Obama, because he truly believes he was a real president. Unlike others that know the power structure above him, he believes he was at the top. He really does. So it wouldn't go that bad for him. You couldn't back him into a corner because he believes in every bit of the role that he was asked to play, and he doesn't even know he's playing a role. That's what's so brilliant about what notnilC did regarding Obama. Going back in time 25 years, say President George H.W. Bush was doing the lecture series, and you, me, Greg, and some of the old guard were in the front row, and we could ask questions. He could actually answer honestly. President H.W. Bush, tell us about all the levels of power and control above you, where you're basically a puppet answering to other forces and other powers. Tell us what's above the corporations. And you'd be like, oh yeah, let me tell you all about. He could tell you all about that, where Obama couldn't, of course. This is a military man, became director of the CIA. Oh yeah. Remember when I said when we established a new world order, and we will. That wasn't even true, because it was already established. The New World Order was already done when he said that. And he said that on September, you know what date, exactly 11 years before the big event. Oh, he could tell you about the org chart way above him. He'd tell you about all the old Gilded Age money still exists, and the Federal Reserve is in control of everything, and how the president is basically not much more powerful than a pizza flipper at Papa John's. He'd say, oh yeah, let me tell you all. If he could answer honestly. Now, Obama, he would have no idea what we're talking about or what I would be asking. He'd try to have me removed. He believes in every bit of his presidency, and he, believe it or not, Obama believes that he was on top. Guys, if you could just give me a few more minutes, I have to return to this image and keep playing out the fantasy that I had earlier, where you, me, Greg, and others like us would invade the front row of this lecture series, and at the end, we would be allowed to direct questions at President Obama. Could you imagine how much fun that would be? I could make videos on this topic for the remainder of my natural life. It's this much fun. Thank you, President Obama. Standing ovation. Now there'll be questions from the audience for President Obama. Who's first? I raise my hand. Me. Hand the mic down to that son of a bitch that has the frayed Everlast sweatshirt, and they hand the mic down and pass it down the aisle. Give me that mic. State your name. I state your name. No, what's your name? Matt McKinley, conspiracy theorist. They wouldn't know what to make of that. It'd be a hush in the audience. Well, do you have a question for President Obama? Yes, I do. President Obama, it was said that you spent 3 to 4 years in Indonesia, right? With that son of a bitch stepfather, Lolo Satoro, right? Don't call him son of a bitch. We'll throw you out. I'm sorry. You spent 3 to 4 years in Indonesia. My question for you, President Obama, is how the hell did you get through the Indonesian public school system not speaking a goddamn word of Indonesian? You should have failed all your classes, sir. And he's like, I do speak Indonesian. You do? Stand up right now, sir. Address this audience here in Indonesian. Go ahead, do it. And he'd mutter something, and he doesn't know more than a few sentences. He doesn't speak Indonesian. It would have been impossible for him to pass his classes, and I'm calling him out on it right now. And said, what did you just say, sir? You just ordered a goddamn Big Mac. That's all you know how to do in Indonesian is order fast food. You're a fraud, sir. You never went to one class. You were planted there by the CIA, being groomed for the fake presidency, now weren't you? And then I'd be real quiet and wait for his answer. And then he still has Secret Service protection. I'd be being carried out right about this time. Guys, I don't want it to seem like my continual examination of this entity is a running gag on this channel. It truly fascinates me what this thing is. I go to it too often. It is not a running gag. It's not like say goodnight, Gracie, or that she just says goodnight. That's a Mandela effect. Good night. She doesn't even say goodnight, Grace anymore. This is not a running gag. I'm telling you, I think about this on my own time when I'm not making videos. This entity, whatever this thing is, Anderson Cooper, has interviewed more frauds, more people that said they were in some sort of situation. What is our situation, Dad? I can't say it. That's from Wedding Crashers. This entity knows that the people he's interviewing, or whatever they are, it's a complete fraud and an act. No one in the history of the world has interviewed more frauds than Anderson Cooper. And what really fascinates me is just saying, what does he pack up his briefcase and drive home to his little cottage or something in the northwest corner of Washington, D.C.? And what does he sit down to eat? Or what does he think? Today I only fooled 7 million people. Yesterday I lied to 100 million people. Does he track how many millions of people he lies to per day? And he goes to some satanic window for some sort of reward? I don't know. It fascinates me. Does he get into bed and pull up the covers like the rest of us, or hang upside down from a stalactite? It fascinates me what goes through its head. Well, let me just be more reciteer, and I believe this is the best answer. If I had to give this answer for a final exam, and I really cared about the grade, this is what I would say. All of these sequential type entities, they believe in their role, and they believe it is necessary to manage the herd. You know, just like Henry Kissinger, we've done this a million times, he would be pulling up next to you at the complicated stoplight with all these different highways merging together and waiting for cars to go and all. And, you know, he would look over at you and he'd want to say, we made this happen. You people, you great unwashed and proletariat, you couldn't manage the complexity on your own. You need us. Whatever fraud that Anderson Cooper knows that he's presenting, he justifies it somehow. It's not like just laughing and getting over on us and, oh, I fooled the real spiritual beings again. These entities, in my opinion, believe in their role and how absolutely necessary it is. And I'm starting to actually to agree with this, but in a way, the sequential and the creeps here are necessary for what we are here to do for ourselves. This is hard for the first grade truther to understand, and nobody likes hearing that. But I'm not saying that I approve of the 4,000 fraudulent interviews he's done with the catastrophe thespians and the fake events. But I'm just saying these sequentials, they don't. He doesn't lose sleep over lying to 100 million people a day, because they're completely convinced that this herd, this populace, needs to be managed in a certain way. And in a way, it's true. I mean, what you take down at this point, in terms of the degradation of society, the degradation of what they call humanity has become, you take down what you call the structure of government, right? I mean, I don't want the worst scenes in the movie The Road playing out. I don't want the humongous gang coming down my driveway trying to steal my chunky soup. I hate to tell you folks, in the first grade truther don't want to hear it is necessary at this time to control the herd, because there's very few of us out there like us. I went back to the headlines, folks, and incredibly, it's like the notnilC is struggling for fake things to talk about. There's just not much going on with the headlines at all. There's no mention now for weeks, at least I don't go every day, but I haven't seen anything about the Epstein-Steiner files, so they're purposely going away from that for a few weeks, so that calms down, because even the dumbest of the dumb were rebelling and getting sick of that story. They keep going to these go-fast boats or these drug-running boats. I mean, there's literally, the notnilC is struggling for things to talk about, and its absurdity meter is lower than we've seen in weeks. I don't know what to make of this. I guess you'd have to say good news, but let's see what this says, and we'll go away from it in a minute. The boat sunk in double tap strike. It wasn't even heading towards the U.S., and they double tap striked it? That's the captain of the boat. He went, thanks a lot. We weren't even headed to the U.S., and you double tapped us. That's not fair. What does it say underneath? Alleged drug traffickers were meeting another vessel bound for Suriname. The admiral who oversaw the operation told lawmakers. Once again, The bot reverses everything. I don't know if it's intentional Crowley speak. The bot reverses everything, maybe to rewire the brains of those that are reading. Again, you're protected because this is going through me. The only one taking the risk, according to Michael, in terms of analyzing these headlines is me. I'm your buffer. But see how the bot reverses everything? Alleged drug traffickers were meeting another vessel bound for Suriname. The admiral who oversaw the operation told lawmakers. No, bot, if you're listening, you would write, the admiral who oversaw the operation told lawmakers that the alleged drug traffickers were meeting another vessel bound for Suriname. You have it completely backwards. And I'm starting to think that it's not just an AI mistake. This is part of the remapping or the rewiring of the brains. They'll never rest. They're the Terminator. They will remember what William Casey said. They will not stop until everything the American public believes is false. And they're basically there. They should put their feet up and smoke a big cigar. What more do they have to do? Right now, everything the American public believes is false. Let's go back to the quote again for a few minutes and plug in almost everything to see if they've accomplished what they intended to accomplish. I think they've won. I think they're finished. There's nothing more left to do. That's why the headlines and the absurdity meter over at CNN.com and BBC is calming down. William Casey. We know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. Matt, you're doing this once a week now, yes so? This is what needs to be said because I haven't said that they've won. This is literal at this point. Hey, man or woman on the street, tell me what's the sun? Oh, well, let me tell you about the sun. It's 93 million miles away. That's false. It's local. It's 93 million miles away. It's this ball of burning hydrogen and helium, and it's going to burn for billions and billions of years. And as it burns, the center is becoming iron. And if it's too big, it'll become a black hole someday. And if it's small, it'll become a white dwarf. That's false. That's all. That's scientists falling for the reality trick. What's the moon? Hey, man or woman on the street, what's the moon? Well, the moon is a rock and... No, that's wrong. You could plug everything in. They've won. Tell me about the reasons for the start of the Civil War. Well, of course. Let me tell you about how the northern politicians differed with the southern politicians on the issue of slavery. No, that's wrong. Everything can be plugged into this quote now. They've won. There's no more reason for this channel. There's no reason to talk about anything other than the half page. They've won. Hey, notnilC. Congratulations on the enormity of your success, and thank you for everybody for being here.